Atlanta Motor Speedway, 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta in Hampton, Georgia, a place where speed has always mattered. It all began right here in 1960. Fireball Roberts won the first race and set a pole speed of 133 miles per hour. Back then, fans packed a single grandstand or sat on dirt banks just to catch a glimpse of history. If they were standing here today, they wouldn't recognize the place. Not the look, not the sound, and definitely not the racing. Originally known as Atlanta International Raceway, this track fought through tough times in the 60s and 70s before finding its footing in the 1980s. Then came the turning point. 1990, Bruton Smith and Speedway Motorsports took control, and in 1997, Atlanta was reborn, flipping straightaways and adding the now famous double dogleg on the front stretch. But hold on, the biggest change came in 2022. Atlanta Motor Speedway was transformed into a high-bank super speedway style monster. Narrow lanes, 28 degrees of banking, blistering speeds, pack racing, drafting, no room to breathe, every lap on edge. For more than 60 years, Atlanta has been a cornerstone of NASCAR. Today, it's one of the fastest, most unpredictable tracks in the sport, where one push, one mistake, one moment can decide it all. Tonight, the stars are ready, the engines are waiting. It's the Peach State 125, presented by Fueled Up, and it's coming right now on Track Limits Network. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Steve Singer, joined in the broadcast booth by Colt Ansley. Colt, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, Steve. How are you doing?
Doing well. Getting ready to call some crazy racing here tonight. Obviously, kind of a hybrid as far as the super speedway packages are concerned. It's not Daytona. It's not Talladega. It's just Echo Park Speedway. A mile and a half, obviously a mile less in length than those big tracks that we're used to seeing the pack racing at. This place offers up a little bit of idiosyncrasies, I guess is the word we're looking for. No, that's not my Kevin Harvick word of the night, but what different challenges do these drivers face here? Obviously, you're drafted up in a pack, but handling does come into play.
Yeah, and I don't know if idiosyncrasy is the right word, but depending on how the night goes, you might see some idiocy start to pop up throughout the field. But no, I actually really like this racetrack. I didn't think I would whenever they initially made the change. Of course, me loving the old Atlanta. But this track has begun to produce some great racing, both in the sim and IRL. And, you know, where you see it Daytona and Talladega, you've got that 10 to 15 seconds down the backstretch where you get to breathe a little bit. There's none of that here. You are holding your breath the entire lap.
You see it here, these guys working on some drafting practice. Just a couple of minutes left before we get into qualifying, but you don't have a whole lot of space at this place. The lanes are much narrower. Yes, you can probably push it 3 wide, but how many laps or how many corners even, that's the real question.
Not many. These are wide-bodied cars, narrow lanes. Even by NASCAR standards, they're very narrow lanes. I want to say this track is roughly the width of Darlington. For comparison, maybe a tick wider, and so you're looking at this while you're running 200 miles an hour, bumper to bumper. You know, at Darlington, at least you typically have the room to utilize the entire track. Here, you can't do that.
I've seen how quickly these guys are actually throwing some sparks out on the racetrack right now through the corners, at least in the draft. I'm surprised actually we can see that here in the daytime. Does that really upset the balance on these race cars when they bottom out like that? And does that kind of dissipate as you get on into the run and the car gets a little bit lighter on fuel?
I'm not I'll be honest, I'm not really sure how much bottoming out affects the next gen car. I know other cars, oddly enough, prefer to bottom out. It gives them a little bit of a handling advantage, but other ones are super sensitive to the car bottoming out. Oh my goodness, that's what practice is for. As these guys are bottoming out, they could just be testing out, obviously their ride height. They might have lower air pressure, because one thing that still occurs here at Atlanta is air pressure will matter just a little bit. They want the car to rise up just a bit and give them optimum downforce.
Just about 20 seconds left in this session. We'll take a look here at the race details before we get too deep into qualifying. 125 laps the distance here tonight. Pit road speed limit 45 miles per hour. Very big caveat there. They must make their pit entry on the entrance to turn number 3. Get down to that pit road speed with all 4 tires below the line. Something to keep an eye on here. May see some of those pit road speeding penalties. 65% fuel on board for everybody. It should yield about 39 to 41 laps on a full tank. 2 sets of tires over the wall and 1 fast repair. Given that we are running a super speedway, that's not the norm in this league, but 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish if we need it. So Mr. Wost in the chat says, I feel like bottoming out on Charlotte hurts this car more than Atlanta, but you can definitely feel it when you clip the apron.
Bumpy as Charlotte is, I would imagine how much that upsets the car.
He says cutting the apron in the quad oval feels like running over a Jersey barrier at 190. I don't think it's the same thing. So Jason Aranchak on the speedway. He'll start his qualifying run. Lacotte's 11 in the chat asking about point standings. I apologize, I do not have a graphic for that this week, but I'll be sure to get everything updated for next and races going forward. If you weren't aware, after the birthday break for the admin here, we're going to be back covering these races live from the All-Star race to the end of the season. So no more tape delay, at least for this season. Guys are definitely happy about that much.
That'll be fun to be back live with these guys.
I may be able to pull up the information at least so I can see it and relay that to you guys here in a little bit. We'll get to it when we get a moment. Meanwhile, Aranchak on the clock here. Fast time so far, though, it's Juan Linares, 31.488 seconds. Aranchak second quick with a 5.99. At least he was. Brett Summers goes second quick. Brandon Moore to third, so Aranchak falls to the 4th spot. Stick here with the 84 and see what kind of time he lays down. Really cuts that open, that double dog leg here. Again, this is another track. We've talked about it like at Daytona recently. If you cut that in qualifying, if there was a penalty, if there was not. There was not actually at Daytona. I'm curious if that stayed the same here in Atlanta.
There is not a penalty. As long as you have the rules set up correctly, there is no penalty for qualifying. However, typically the rule set is Super Speedway rules, so you cannot dip below that line for the race session.
Ray Hanneman top time now, 31.43. We watched Blake Hochschild work his way around. He's 19th based on his first lap, 32.239. Back to start finish. Might have scrubbed some speed there. A hard left turn into the dog leg. But now jumps up to 9th. 31.490 for the 17. Now to Jackson West.
That's an interesting line, taking the dog leg there. He's not cutting so deep into the dog leg where he starts hopping over the curb, or not the curb, but the just bumps in the pavement. But he's just chipping the sharp end of the quad oval off. That seems to be the more efficient way of going around here.
I mean, you want to shortcut it a little bit, but you don't want to do it so hard that you put a lot of wheel into it to get it there, because that's just going to slow your momentum a little bit. As Cornette now goes P1, 31.416. Hot lap for the 88. Jackson West now across start finish. Bumps up to P12.
Look like a rally car going with those bumps.
Chris Pieria in the number 13. 33.097 his first lap, and he lifts out of the gas here back before start finish, maybe opting to start towards the rear.
I think he might have grabbed the wall in turn 3 just a bit.
Now Matt Sisler on the Speedway, last year's champion.
And you mentioned it, Steve, wheel input is almost more important even here than just raw distance around the racetrack. We see it a lot of times at super speedways where guys will kind of drift up down the back stretch, and at the exit of turn 4 at Daytona and Talladega, just to open the wheel up. Even though they're technically covering more linear feet around the racetrack, they keep the wheel speed up so much that it doesn't affect them as much.
Qualifying in the books here, Chris Cornette will take the top spot. I don't think Sisler got his second lap in, but that's going to do it for qualifying. Let's get to our starting grid. On the pole position with a lap time of 31.416 seconds, it's the number 88 machine of Chris Cornette from ZeroX Sim Racing. Outside front row, Fueled Up Motorsports missed it by 15 thousandths of a second. It's the 12 of Raymond Hanneman. Row number 2, it'll be John Tiller and Wesley Jeanette. Row 3, Ben Smith and Austin Walton. Johnny DePasquale and Briley Hassard in row 4. Row 5 is Nathan Line and Nick Gardner. Starting 11th, it'll be Juan Linares. In the 12th position will be Jason Blaney. 13th starter, Jackson West. 14th is Jason Aranchak. 15th starter will be Blake Hochschild. Brenton Watts, 16th. Jeremy Davis, 17th. David Kennard will start in the 18th spot. 19th, Brandon Moore. 20th is the 7 of Brett Summers. 21st, Clint Hayfield. 22nd is Cody Austin. Tony Smith, 23rd. Ken Lowry is 24th. Tommy Pulte, 25th. 26th, Matt Sisler. 27th, Michael Thorne. Chris Pieria, 28th. Trevor Quisenberry will be 29th. Scott Stockel, usually in the 5, will run the 28 machine tonight. He'll start 30th. 31st is Darren Jones, and shotgun on the field in the 32nd and final position, the 41 of Nathaniel Ostrowski. It's your starting grid here from Echo Park Speedway, the Peach State 125, presented by Fueled Up. About to get things underway here momentarily. Want to make note here, we did get the point standings at least visually pulled up on my end. Wesley Jeanette, your points leader. 344 the total. At 340, Jason Blaney is second. Brandon Moore, 309 in third. Ray Hanneman, fourth with 300 points. A virtual tie with Austin Walton, also 300 points. Nick Gardner, 293. Johnny D, 290. 286 for Blake Hochschild. Chris Cornette, 268. And 257 for Scott Stockel. That's the top 10. We'll call it 11 there with the tie in the mix, but some very, very tight point standings here as the season is nearing the playoffs.
Yeah, there's still a lot of positions up for grabs here.
So Chris Cornette rolls out onto the speedway in his old Bud 8, but it's an 88 colors. Race details in case you came in late. 125 laps the distance tonight. Pit road speed limit 45 miles per hour. 65% fuel load on board should yield 39 to 41 laps. That's roughly the window. 2 sets of tires over the wall. 1 fast repair. 1 attempt at a green-white checkered finish. Some news on Jason Blaney. His suspension was rescinded after last week, though he does serve an EOL to start tonight's race instead. Race admin's taking a look at that a little more in depth over the week, deciding to rescind that penalty. And Cole, we talked about it a little bit pre-race. I kind of agree with it. I'm not against that penalty being rescinded. It was coming down last 100 yards to the finish line. Both drivers making contact. One seemed to come up, one seemed to come down. They kind of met in the middle.
Yeah, I would agree with it too. I mean, after we went off air, we sat there and watched that wreck 2 or 3 times, just trying different angles of it. And yeah, I don't think it was anything egregious, just kind of coming down to the line. It didn't decide the race win, in my opinion. The race was already decided on turn 4. So yeah, I agree that that penalty should not have stood.
Austin Walton in the chat says, "Field up, paid big bucks to get that suspension lifted." Wasn't that usually how it works, even in NASCAR? It's like, all right, you go to the appeals committee, and it's like, well, we're going to uphold the fine, but we'll give you your points position back.
We call that getting a ticket.
Yeah. Reckless driving. Austin Walton, just kidding.
In Minecraft, in Fortnite, in whatever game you can think of to pretend something happened.
I wouldn't know. Field formed up.
I still got it.
Double wide here. 2 pace laps to get this one started tonight. I think that was all to make sure the penalties got served properly and everybody was lined up where they needed to be. The pace car comes to pit lane, ready to get the Peach State 125 underway. Chris Cornett, Wesley Jeanette on the front row, and we are green from Echo Park Speedway.
Everybody make sure you take a deep breath in, because you're not going to be able to get one out for a little while.
Ooh, Cornett dips it just below the line there on the exit of turn number 2. Field back to the start-finish line. Lap 1 in the books, and Jeanette just edges out Cornett for that first lap lead on the outside. The 74 now with a run through turns 1 and 2. Looking for the race lead, but no, bottom is battling back. That's Chris Cornett in that 88 machine.
That was a really good move by Jeanette out of turn 2 on lap 1. He got behind Cornett, kind of pushed him for a second, then jumped out, grabbed the right rear of the car, and kind of dragged him back with a side draft, and was able to carry the momentum all the way through 3 and 4.
Top 8 or 10 cars still remain side by side, but it's relatively single file in behind this lead group of cars. A little bit of patience early on here could pay dividends later on in tonight's race.
Pretty much everyone in the back is just going single file, but these guys, they want to get up there and get some points.
Guys really getting after it here tonight at Echo Park Speedway. The front row, though, still side by side. Really the same story, 2, 4, 6, 8, almost 10. In fact, it is 10. 10 cars deep, side by side as they roll down into turn number 3. Oh, one car in the wall. The 16 of Riley Hassard scrapes it, keeps it out of big-time trouble, but loses a lot of ground. It's going to stack up some of the drivers here, but I think they're all going to get away clean. Hassard's going to lose a bunch of spots here. He's doubled his position. He was 8th, now back to 16th.
I think he's going to get away with it, though. Not a whole lot of damage.
Now the trick there is to remember to uncheck the fast repair so you don't burn it on such slight amount of damage the first pit stop that these guys make. So often, especially in a league that's used to not running with a fast repair, you have it, it's checked, and then you forget to uncheck it and you go ahead and you waste it.
Steve, that happened to me so many times that I actually got with our buddy Alan DeFries, and we went into that my INI file in iRacing and manually shut off the automatic fast repair and manually shut off the auto fuel for that specific reason.
There was a time where I figured out a way, I can't remember how I did it now, but I was able to map my ignition button on my Stream Deck to obviously activate the ignition, but it also deactivated the fast repair at the same time. So as soon as I started the car, it just killed the fast repair. Just don't stall it, because then you're going to recheck it.
I was about to say that.
So Wesley,
patience being shown by Austin Walton here, but one thing you're going to see the later we get into the race, and a big difference between Atlanta and Daytona and Talladega, where at the two bigger tracks you have to kind of manage your runs and don't just go with everything you have. In Atlanta, you kind of have to do that. You have to take every run you get because the runs are so much bigger and the closing rates are so much faster.
Jason Aranchak very slow on the bottom of the racetrack here. He's already gone down a lap. He's shown 32nd. And he's not on the pace. He's still slow. Something definitely missed on the 84.
Yeah, he definitely has some sort of, maybe not mechanical problem, but possibly electrical problem with his system, or there could be all sorts of gremlins. On iRacing, we don't have mechanical problems, whereas the car just doesn't function. You know, where we see trucks and cars have issues with like electrical problems. We have our wheels go down, we have our monitors stop working, our force feedback go away, and that does put you out of contention, just like any other mechanical failure in real life. So while we don't have them in the sim, we do have a simulated version in real life.
It's a problem I had a couple of times. It's always seemed to rear its ugly head on the super speedways, where before I went to load cells and Hall effect sensors, I couldn't get wide open throttle. I had to recalibrate, and in some instances, I had to recalibrate the pedals on my pit stops. So you lose a ton of ground. Tony Smith out of shape there, and he's got some contact into Jason Blaney, and Blaney's going to go around.
Oh. He tried to save it.
It's a little worse for wear, but it could certainly have been much worse.
Scott Stockel got a little bit of that there at the last second. Couldn't get it woed up all the way.
And I'm going to rip off the live button here so I don't forget and try to go to a replay. So first caution of the night, Jason Blaney with a little help from Tony Smith in the number 43 machine. You saw it. Smith got a little crossed up through the dog leg, washed it back up the racetrack and into the 22. Jason almost had it saved, but in the end gets a piece of the wall and maybe another car.
Yeah, Steve, it looked to me like the rear of his car lost all the air going over it, which is pretty common in the quad oval here because there's no banking and the air is so turbulent because there's so many cars all at once, all in a flat spot, making a really sharp turn. It can really affect the air around the car, and looks like I got Tony Smith loose there, and unfortunately into Jason Blaney.
Looks like we got a pretty significant amount of takers here on pit lane. We see Michael Thorne there. He's a little bit above that line here. I don't know if he's going to get dinged for this.
Steve, I saw a lot of guys not hit that commitment box.
I don't know if you can run that part of the apron if you're going to pit. I mean, you're committed, and he stays out of the racetrack.
I think that's a violation no matter what. If you're not clear of the box one way or another. I have a feeling we're going to have a school pickup line at the exit of pit road right here with all the guys that didn't quite get the box.
We'll have to keep an eye on that and see if Michael Thorne ends up getting a penalty. We'll go back to green. Blaney still sits in his stall, though he does have some damage to get repaired. And through this, Colt, I believe Jason Aranchak was able to get back on the lead lap. I think he was the first car, only car, one lap down.
Jason Blaney having trouble getting the trigger to work on his pit stall.
Well, it almost... Oh, I think he burned the... Oh, I know what happened, because he pulled out of the box, and he must not have had that fast repair checked and decided, all right, after seeing how long the repairs were going to be, he pulled out of the box and then backed into the box again, avoiding a second pit stop, and he's going to lose it on exit. Pit exit a little tricky here at Echo Park Speedway. So, Colt, I don't see Michael Thorne getting a penalty here. Seems that maybe that boundary is a little more lenient than we had thought.
Yeah, that's interesting, because we had just run a race recently in the Gen 4 car that several guys got popped for it crossing over the commitment box. Could be that there was either a change or maybe a rule set in the room itself in the session that the admins put up.
I don't know, because I mean, again, this being a replay, I did preload it just to make sure everything was the way it needed to be, and I went in and checked the rules, and it was how it was indicated, is you had to enter into turn 3 all 4 wheels below the line. So my guess, I mean, it should have been a penalty of some sort, but I guess not.
Very, very interesting.
Okay, so Pulte in the chat says no penalty from coming in, staying on track, only if you end up pitting. So I guess if you miss the box and then you stay out on the track, there's no penalty there. But Colt, you were saying there was a lot of guys up above that line that still completed their pit stops without an issue.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of guys committed late. Like, I know the 96 of David Kennard, he was well above the line, but I believe I see him in the back. Whoa, we got a big checkup on this restart.
Brandon Moore, a little bit out of line here, and will lose some ground on the restart. Maybe missed a shift.
Steve, it was like they didn't go. The whole pack. I thought we were in slow motion for a second. Just nobody went on that restart.
So Wesley Jeanette now leads Blake Hochschild. Jeremy Davis, a new name in the session. He's listed as the 5. He's showing the number 2.
That bunched up restart definitely split up the pack, though. Everybody got to single file pretty quickly. They're not running side by side the way we were on that first initial start.
Tommy Pulte in the chat says Dustin can confirm. Wow, what a battle we got going on here. Lowry was looking for a place to go and he's running out of space.
Look ahead of him, Chris Cornett jumping to the outside. Talking about taking a run as soon as you get it. That's what I was talking about in that first run. As soon as you get that momentum, you have to take it. Otherwise, it takes so long for the car to wind back up.
Potential battle for the lead here, but a battle for second at the same time as Jeremy Davis was just inches off the back bumper of Blake Hochschild. But Blake now shoots to the front as we're 3 wide for second. Wesley Jeanette lifts out of that one, says, I don't want no part of this. It is way too early for that sort of thing.
It looked like he went up to try to pick up Chris Cornett and build that outside line, and Cornett said no thank you and jumped to the outside, left him hung out to dry.
Dustin says, if wrecked or go on pit lane to avoid an incident, you can have your penalty cleared only if you drive straight through. If you stop in your box, you will serve the penalty. There's the answer from the race officials.
contact. They were able to save it.
Checking back here on Brandon Moore. Again, a very slow restart for the 3. Seems he got it back under power here as he runs in the tire tracks of Chris Pieria, the black number 13. Rebel Bourbon colors.
It's kind of just a 5-car, not breakaway, but more like got left behind.
And this place, that's not necessarily a bad thing right now. If these guys just run single file here for a while, just maintain pace, keep their distance from the hornet's nest out in front of them, that could be the best place to be right now.
Yeah, that's an old strategy we used to see back in 2015, 16, 17 NASCAR Cup. Guys lagging back, falling out of the draft, and then they could link back up and run back in line, get back to the field, and move forward.
Jason Aranchak in this group as well.
Back on the lead lap from his earlier incident.
Oh! Big wiggle from Pieria. Locks it down, straightens it out. Bouncing all over the apron, locks it up again. Think we might still catch a caution out of this, but what a save out of the 13 of Chris Pieria.
That was wild.
Never totally
Steve,
swapped ends on him.
It looked like he blew a left rear tire. Like that's how quickly the car snapped around.
That was very strange.
It also looked like a save from his paint scheme sake from years ago.
Sparks and all. It was that wasn't the 500. I think it was the summer race at Daytona. It was old KB.
That was the shootout, I believe.
Oh, you're right. I think it was.
Yeah, that was the race Jeff Gordon flipped upside down.
Yeah.
I thought you'd be happy about that.
I was. So pit lane open. We got a couple of takers here as Nick Gardner took over the race lead. He's going to stay out onto the track here. Haas Shield Jeanette. They're on that pit entry into turn number 3. Jeremy Davis, Ken Lowry, Clint Hayveld. Will there be more?
Now keep an eye on Jeremy Davis here. He straddled the commitment box. So if he gets a penalty, we will know our answer about pitting under caution. But if he gets away with it, I'd like to know how, because I got in trouble for it the last time I did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's an iRacing thing. If somebody hits the commitment cone there, too, that's not a good thing. Is that the commitment cone or is that the pit entry cone? As Michael Thorne goes around in the pits. And Jason Aranchak. Jason's stuck here waiting for him in traffic.
Looks like an old 2000s NASCAR game with the AI freaking out on pit road. And yes, Steve, the Atlanta is very weird about how the pit lane is, obviously, as we know, but you have to maintain pace car speed around the apron of the track when you commit. But the yellow cone that we saw get run over and kicked into the infield, that is the pit entry line. So that's when pit road speed comes into effect. As long as you don't go above the pace car speed and pass anyone who stayed out, which is surprisingly easy to do, you'll be fine. Now, under green conditions, you can hit that as hard as you can, but if you slide up and touch that white line, you're going to get a unsafe pit entry.
Interesting.
Ask me how I know.
So Michael Thorne here still in his pit box. I don't know if he got a penalty out of that or if he's just trying to fix some damage, because that car was tore up a little bit the last time we saw him down pit lane.
He hit that wall, that inside wall, pretty hard. Yeah, you see the left front pop out. getting him to spin the rear tires to make sure he can get going straight. I would imagine he tried to turn into his box late. Maybe he lost track of where he was, and unfortunately whoever was behind him was maintaining pit speed and got into the back of him.
Want to make note here of the 2/5 of Jeremy Davis, EOL, for pit entry violation.
So we have our answer to that question.
Austin Walton says entering pit road on the back stretch is kind of fun under green. Now, Colt, under green, I know at least in the real world, there is a speed limit for that portion of the track. It's not as low as actual pit lane at 45 miles an hour. If I remember correctly, it's 90. Is that the case here at iRacing, or does it kind of get what you can get here in iRacing?
No, it's get what you can get, but they are very, very strict with the white line. So if you slide up and so much as get like just the valve stem of your tire over the white line, you're going to get in trouble for it.
So take what you want, but eat all that you take. If you take too much, you're going to pay. Gardner gets away here, and Jason Blaney finds himself in a good position here to the outside of a teammate here, John Tiller. Slips back to the 4th spot, but still Johnny DePasquale to the inside. Nathan Line on the back bumper. Ray Hanneman behind him. So Fueled Up Motorsports boys way up in front already. Here is a big move by the one of Johnny D. I don't know if he was forced up there or if he just kind of rooted his way to the top. Runs in the tire tracks of Nick Gardner as John Tiller goes for the race lead.
These guys are scrambling on this restart. A lot more aggressive than I thought they would be. Nick Gardner trying to hang on to the lead. He sees all those Fueled Up Motorsports cars behind him.
Gardner gets up to the top of the racetrack. Will lose 2 spots, possibly 3 here out of turn number 4.
Nick Gardner almost got crossed up with Ray Hanneman there. Hanneman jumps to the inside, leaves Gardner out.
Sure, someone grabbed a lower gear there. RPM spiked up for somebody.
Yeah, I don't know if under green flag conditions leading a pack is the best time to test that.
Gardner in 4th gear right now. Oh yeah.
We're going IndyCar style now.
Buzzing all kinds of RPM.
As long as he's not riding the chip too much, he should be fine, especially with that clean air in front of him. Nothing heating up the radiator.
So Johnny DePasquale still with the race lead, out of line there. Nathan Line to the bottom of the racetrack. Had a moment, but he held on to it.
Eerily similar to Tony Smith's, not Tony Smith, the 13 of
Chris Pieria.
I was looking. Eerily similar to his incident where car just got loose out from underneath them for no apparent reason.
So a little seesaw battle here at the front of the field between Gardner and Johnny DePasquale. Austin Walton in behind Gardner on the top side. Walton in the number 9 UniFirst colors.
Nick Gardner's had some pretty decent speed the past couple of weeks. Still up here leading last, but Johnny DePasquale also usually pretty quick, but he's had a rough string of races. I'd imagine he wants to get up here and lead lead a good amount of laps, get some confidence built back up.
Good to see that admin box Mustang here at the front of the field. You're absolutely right.
Felt like last season all I heard was Johnny D winning races, and now since I've jumped in the booth, it seems like all I see is Johnny D backing it into the wall somewhere. Good to see him up here.
That's what's kind of fun about calling these leagues for multiple seasons, is you get to see the progression of the drivers in the league. Some guys getting better, obviously some new names coming in as well with some talent, but seeing guys kind of learn the craft and just get better and better season in, season out. Those guys that may have been lights out a season before might have to work a little harder in the next one.
And sometimes, Steve, when it's your year, it's just your year, and when it's not, boy, it is not.
Dustin in the chat says, are we sure that gear is legit? I know when I go back and look at replays, sometimes it says they're in first, but really in second. So the only reason it popped into my head was because I heard the gear change. The RPM spiked considerably. Then I went to that dashboard component, and it showed fourth gear. Could it still be a glitch in the replay? Probably, but I don't know. If Nick Gardner's available, maybe we should ask him.
I don't think Nick Gardner wants us to give away his trade secrets.
Well, that could be it too. Now, Colt, looking at this now, we're 36 laps in. We talked about how the top 8 or 10 were running double file for a good majority and kind of racing it out for positions while everybody else behind them, well, they were running single file. And now I think it's 2 by 2 all the way to the tail end of the field now.
Yeah, it appears gridlock is starting to form. Everybody getting really racy, still fairly early on in the race.
Nick Gardner continues to lead the pack off turn number 2. Austin Walton in tow. Jackson West now the third car in line on the top side. Johnny DePasquale, Jason Blaney, Nathan Line on the low side.
Nick Gardner doing a good job controlling these runs. Able to jump from the outside to the inside.
It was a big push by Walton, too, sending him down into turn 1.
Walton letting him know that he can only do that so many times.
Oh, and he loses it! The race leader gets loose in the middle of turn 3. Hard impact up the racetrack. Nick Gardner goes from first to worst in the blink of an eye. Sliding out of turn number 4 now through the dogleg grass. What looked to be a solid afternoon for Nick Gardner goes up in smoke.
Oh, that one hurt just watching.
Nick Gardner may need to tow this. He's not moving the car at all. There is still a fast repair available, but he's got to get there, and he just can't. That car is killed.
They're going to be pulling the hood pins of that car out of the wall.
So we talked about it in the open, Colt, how this track, it's drafting, it's pack racing, but it's also handling.
Yeah, that was another just really odd wreck. We saw Austin Walton just barely get to the back of him going into the corner, kind of push him, and it just seemed to upset the 27 so badly that it was like the rear tires were never attached to the racetrack. Unfortunately, he tried to save it, and when it hooked back up, he went straight into the wall.
Mr. Woffs in the chat says, where's the medical team? Never mind that. Where's the coroner?
I was sitting there kind of hoping the window net would drop.
So third caution of the night, and it's a big one for the race leader, Nick
Gardner.
Nick Gardner. I just had a total brain fart.
He was spending too much time around me.
Yep. A lot of varying strategies here. Again, it is the strategy series, but we've got our leader, Wesley Jeanette. He's made one pit stop back on lap 24, but Tommy Pulte in the second spot with his hood flying in the air. He's going to need to make a trip to pit lane.
Whoops.
That looks like a Blackhawks logo underneath the hood. Bet you if it slams down, it may tell us a little more, but yeah, problem there for Pulte. His last pit stop back on lap 13, so obviously he got caught up in this one as well.
Well, like I just said, if they're looking for hood pins, check the turn 3 wall. They're gonna need a whole roll of bare bond to keep that one down.
Tommy's not going to use the fast repair, it doesn't seem. Hopefully he's not stuck there too long.
Steve, it's possible a couple of these guys might have already used a fast repair.
Yeah, that's true, too.
Looking at Jason Blaney, he was involved in that just a little bit. Not a ton of damage, but
Lowry
he's
just
definitely
burned
in it.
his.
Boy, just a tough break for Gardner. Such a fast car, doing such a good job controlling the lines.
All better now. I believe Nick has lost a lap, though, in this exchange, so need to race his way into that lucky dog position. Cross his fingers for another caution that he's not involved in, of course. Lacott's 11 says, "Oh no, my girlfriend is a Blackhawks fan. Guess she's got a new driver to root for." Well, your Blackhawks are in the same boat as my Sabres, watching TV at home. Green back in the air. Wesley Jeanette, Blake Hochschild 1 and 2 is Nathan Lyon looking to the outside of the 17.
Tony Smith, second car on the outside lane, did not get a good restart. I don't know if he's clearly got damage, but I don't know if he has engine damage. Slowed him down.
And Hochschild door bang in the 38 all through turn number 2.
And Steve, look at who's in the top 6 right now.
Jason Aranchak. Still love to know what went wrong with the 84 earlier on in the race where he was well under speed.
Whatever it was, he got the lucky dog, was able to work his way back up to the front. Quisenberry also in the front. He had a pretty tough race last week after being one of the faster cars at Martinsville.
Hochschild making a run to the inside here for the race lead. Wesley Jeanette up top. Then it's Nathan Lyon, Austin Walton, 3 cars on the top lane. Down low, Hochschild, Quisenberry, Jason Aranchak. Or it was, Aranchak swaps lanes, goes to the bottom behind the 6.
Everybody trying to find out which lane they want to be in, because once they gridlock, there's nowhere to go. Unless you're brave enough to create a third lane.
And there's no one lane that I'm seeing really being dominant right now. Top moves, bottom moves. Quisenberry kind of losing some ground though, and Hochschild's slow. Brett Summers in the 7, just ahead of Ray Hanneman, in behind Nathan Lyon. Oh, the door is closing. Summers tries to throw a small block on the 12, now into turn number 3. No contact with Walton. Gets him crossed up, and around he goes in front of Tony Smith. Fourth caution of the night.
Boy, Tony Smith tried to clear the quarter mile there. I believe I might have seen Jason Aranchak spin around. I don't know if he got damaged from that or not.
Backside
been a
looks
clean
okay.
spin.
Lost some ground, though. Remember, he was running about 6th or so prior to this. Now he's back in 25th. But I think you're right, Cole. I don't think he hit anything.
Tony Smith's going to need a new set of rear shocks after that, the way he was jumping around.
Austin Walton in the chat says, pretty sure the 84 left and then rejoined the race at grid time, so he may have had to have started from pit lane. That would explain why he was so off pace at the initial start, but man, he seemed pretty slow for quite a while, even for that.
He's got to be thinking, man, I just got back up there.
Some more takers on pit lane. We'll see Wesley Jeanette pull the field down. Nathan Line, Ray Hanneman, Cornette, Quisenberry, Blaney, Hossfield, and others, while Austin Walton and Riley Hassard stay out on the speedway.
And everybody well away from that white line and the commitment box.
Quite the variety of takers versus non-takers, and someone pings that cone again.
Once is an accident, two's a coincidence. Don't hit the cone again.
You can see the tire mark in the edge of the grass there. Someone's definitely a little bit wide. Taking stay to the right a little too seriously.
Couple of two-tire stops, it appears.
Yeah, quick stop for Hanneman. That was fuel only. 5.6 seconds for the 12.
I think Hanneman probably came in just to check his damage, because he did get clipped by someone there but kept it straight. Probably just wanted to come in, make sure nothing was tore up, get some fuel while he was in.
Back in my day, we just rolled up alongside somebody and said, hey, how's my right front look?
That was when the damage model worked, Steve.
Yeah, well.
That was also back in the day when if you breathed wrong on the car, you'd lose 50 RPM for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm. So the top 7 drivers on the speedway have stayed out during this caution. They are Austin Walton, Riley Hassard, Cody Austin, Ben Smith, Jackson West. That's the top 5. Then 6th, it's Jeremy Davis. Recovering from his penalty, Juan Linares in P7. Hanneman came down to pit. Again, as you said, Colt, possibly just a quick damage inspection. But Jason Blaney in 9th, just as quick of a pit stop. Same story for Tiller. Deep Pasquale. Hossfield potentially took rights. 7.45 second stop. That'd be pretty quick. I think the only driver out there that appears to have taken 4 tires is the 74 of Wesley Jeanette. He'll restart 15th. So Dustin asking if we saw iRacing Season 3 update about the new pit speed thing that they've got going on. I read it briefly. I was kind of at work when I kind of skimmed it. But it sounds like they're making it easier, which, frankly, I'm not a fan of. What about you, Colt? Oh, slight emergency for Colt. He had to step away from the booth here. He'll be back momentarily. I bet he spilled his drink. So yeah, Dustin, if you've got more details as to actually what it is, pop it in the chat. Let's get a little conversation going about that one. I'd be curious to see. Cody Austin kind of car length and a half further back than I would expect him to be as the pace car comes to pit lane. He's not tightened up there at Austin Walton, but coming to green, it's Walton and Hassard. Green flag back in the air. Walton carries the lead down into turns 3 and 4 over Briley Hassard, and Ben Smith up to the 3rd spot. Jason Blaney working the high side in 4th. Behind him, Jeremy Davis in the number 2 Wrangler colors. Davis way up the racetrack, exited turn number 2. He'll lose some spots back to the 9th position now. Blaney, though, working his way forward with some drafting help from Ray Hanneman. Hanneman in the 12. Big time push to the 22. They're going to be aggressive here. They know they can work with each other that way, but you still got to be careful. This place is treacherous. Move for the outside. Blaney looking for the race lead. Hanneman takes a peek to the outside, puts himself in the wall for a moment. Little off-kilter push into turn number 3. Blaney is able to hang on to it, but now Austin Walton fighting back with no help. But on the bottom, Fueled Up Motorsports cars all in a row in the outside lane. You know they're going to be working together. Blaney now a car length and a half out in front over the low side with Ray Hanneman tucked in behind, a yard off the back bumper. So Blaney clear with the race lead. Hanneman into second, Tiller third. Walton really just not getting the help and the numbers to draft with on the low side. So now the top becoming a little bit more dominant, at least with the fact that they have some help up there. Walton with Briley Hassard, Ben Smith, and Cody Austin behind him. But Hassard's really the only one close enough to do anything. Ben Smith's a car length and a half, maybe 2 back. So, Dustin, it sounds like even in the Cup car, you get to use the limiter. What if you disable it? Is it still manual mode like it should be? Jason Blaney, Ray Hanneman, 1 and 2 with John Tiller in tow. 28 is Scott Stockel there in behind Tiller. It's all on the outside. Then it's Chris Cornett. Davis now back up into the mix in the number 2 machine, low side. Austin Walton in the 9, but now the 45 of Clint Hayfield takes the lead position on the low lane. See if him and Austin can work together here as Briley Hassard back a couple of car lengths, the 3rd car in row. Three wide here behind the leaders through the dogleg. Gotta be careful here, and there's a car in the wall. Oh, up the racetrack. The 17 of Blake Hochschild. Hard impact as he comes up the banking. Clips the number 96 of David Kennard, and we are under caution again. Big time wreck here at Echo Park Speedway involving Blake Hochschild. It seemed that they came together there in the dogleg here at start finish, and I don't know if there was no brakes on the 17, but he went through the grass, through the apron, and back up the racetrack into the path of the 96 of David Kennard, who sits behind him on pit lane. Both drivers heavily damaged here for our 5th caution of the night. So choose a gear that keeps the engine in the middle of its RPM range. Do not shift while the limiter is active, as the system may briefly overspeed and trigger a penalty. How about you just don't speed? Yeah, Dustin says, I'm hoping it's manual and not a force thing. Yes, you can turn the rules in such a way to allow yourself to not speed on pit lane with these stock cars, but obviously the road racing, the GTs, the prototypes, all that stuff, they actually have a genuine pit limiter, which is fine. That's what the car is supposed to have, but if they're integrating that into the stock cars, I'm definitely not a fan. So 61 laps complete here at Echo Park Speedway under our 5th caution of the night. Blake Hochschild, who was strong early, a big-time crash that started in the dogleg and finished with a massive impact down into turn number 1 involving David Kennard. Should be getting the one-to-go signal this time across start-finish. Set us up for a restart at lap 63. We've had 5 cautions for 13 laps here tonight. Ought to be 14 once we finish this one. Clint Hayville will restart as your race leader. We've had 13 lead changes already here tonight.
And we're back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Hey, welcome back, Colt. Did you spill your drink?
No. But all good now. For now. Apologies.
Stomach issues? What's going on?
You don't want to know.
Okay, fair enough.
No, we're good. We're good. Appears we're under caution again, ready to go back green.
Yeah, massive wreck there with Blake Hochschild and David Kennard. It started in the dogleg, and I don't know if there was a hung throttle for the 17 or no brakes, but he went all the way down to the grass, through the apron, back up to banking, and got clipped by the 96. Both drivers heavily damaged in that one.
I would imagine so.
So it'll be Hayville and Blaney on the front row as we're set for the restart here at Echo Park Speedway. Hayville gets away, battle for second, Walton and Blaney. Walton gets the better of him for now, but Ray Hanneman pushing the 22 with everything he's got all the way through corner exit. Walton throws the block out of turn number 2. Blaney looking for some extra space, couldn't find it, but Walton going for the race lead into turn number 3.
You're going to slide up front of Hayville? I believe he is, but he's got the 20 of John Tiller behind him.
Oh, Blaney almost getting into Stockel there. That was close quarters.
I think a few of these guys might be betting on more and more cautions, less and less green flag runs, so they're trying to get what they can get while they can get it.
Hayville making a move, looks to the outside on Walton. It just slows his momentum and gives the advantage to Tiller as they come back to start-finish. Tiller will lead this lap. Scott Stockel now on the charge as he's up to the second position.
Austin Walton got left out there on the outside lane.
So top three now, it's Tiller, Stockel, Cornett. Then down the line further, Hayville and Blaney, the top five. As you said, Colt, Walton lost some ground as he slips now to the seventh position. Hanneman now pushing Walton with everything he's got, trying to make some hay, get him back towards the front. Sometimes you got to help the competition to help yourself. Unfortunately, in this case, it seemed to only help the 9, but the 9 goes back to the top. Not a lot of help up there, but he seems to like how the car feels on that higher lane.
Steve, earlier on in the broadcast, I made the odd description that this version of Atlanta is almost similar to Darlington in a way, and Austin Walton just ran a Darlington line. He started on the bottom, car slid all the way up to the top, and he just kind of hung out there in the top line all the way through the exit. I don't know if he's experiencing some handling issues or if he just, like you said, likes the way it feels up there.
Back to the bottom he goes. He doesn't really have the help up there right now. One car in the wall. I think it was Chris Pieria. Indeed it was. The 13 pancakes the right side and breaks a lot of momentum for him. He'll slide back to 27. Chris, the last car in the lead lap now. He's got to figure this one out the rest of the way. Maybe get lucky and catch another caution.
Good job by him, though, not yanking the car off the wall and causing a bigger incident.
Definitely a tough spot to do it as you're getting into this flat dog leg. It could have been real bad. He did a good job avoiding major chaos.
There's Cornett and Hayville. Outside line is surging forward and Ray Hanneman pushing.
There's the big picture from the blimp. Cornett going for the race lead around Tiller. He's got the momentum. What a last lap this would have been, but not the case. 71 of 125 in the books.
Boy, when they go through that flat quad oval, it just looks like all kinds of chaos. And then they'll funnel it back down into 1 and 2 and look like a pace lap. They're all nice and organized, and they work their way all the way back around the track, get to the quad oval again, and just scatter.
Brandon Moore trying to make it 3 wide here off of turn 4. He sticks the nose in just a tiny bit.
Big run for the 3.
Wow. The vacuum cleaner, the 3 of Brandon Moore up the gut. Now 3 wide again with Quisenberry in the middle. They're going to be 4 wide off of turn number 2. Contact, the 6 goes around. We got a wreck on the backstretch.
A lot of cars into this one.
Aranchak, Michael Thorne, Briley Hassard, Quisenberry, Hayville, Tony Smith, and I don't think that's all of them.
They're still wrecking a little bit. What a move for Brandon Moore to work his way through that just cluster of cars.
Hayville trying to get this thing to
that
turn. He's going to have to tow.
Not giving up.
I really wish we could go back and watch it, but Jackson West commenting, able to miss that one. An excellent dodge by the 76 to keep that ZeroX alive. Hayville finally gives it up.
That might have been a toss the keyboard through the monitor, escape out of the car.
I know a guy in iRacing that did that.
It's an expensive thing to do.
I think you know him too. We're not going to discuss it, but...
I've thrown a steering wheel. I've yet to throw something through a screen, though.
Let's just say I think he stepped into it. Derek Buckaloo in the chat says, I think you can only use the pit road limiter in C-Class and below, and the assist should be turned off for the league. I think they would be anyway. I'm betting the pit road speed stuff will only apply to the road car. Fingers crossed. Then Jackson says, Dustin the hater, for real. I'm going to make D2 playoffs this year and win the title.
I did not read the release notes for Season 3. I'd imagine they are adding things to make driving the car simpler like they did with the MX-5, where it's quite literally a stick shift car and you cannot run an H-pattern shifter on it.
Yeah, that's a little interesting.
I'm still a little bitter on that one.
Jackson says, I threw my cat when he took that screenshot of Texas and cooked my race.
Oh, why'd you have to read that right as I took a drink?
Of course.
The most damage I ever did to a rig was I punched my steering wheel one time and accidentally cracked the frame of the wheel. So for the rest of the lifespan of that steering wheel, it kind of wobbled.
In my early 20s, I was a bit of a hothead, and I had a habit of punching my own steering wheel. And I triggered the airbag.
Talk about a lot of hot air.
That was a fun phone call with the insurance company.
That was a fun conversation with my wife, considering I self-funded all my equipment.
There you go. All right, on the one to go here as we get set for the restart. Front row will be John Tiller on the inside of the blue and white number 20. Clark Keating and Cooling entry. Now his outside will be the 28 of Scott Stockel. Now, you see the 28 on the door of Stockel? It's usually the 5. Something got a little wonky in iRacing. That 5 ended up going to, I believe, Jeremy Davis, though Jeremy Davis is sporting a number 2 on the car. So something got a little screwy, but that's not a big deal. As long as everybody knows who everybody is, I think we'll be just fine. Pace car is going to need an alignment if he keeps hitting the apron like that. But he's in pit road. We're ready for the restart here. Lap 76 about to go up on the board. We'll be back underway. We will take a side-by-side break here after a lap or so. We've waited a little bit here, knowing some things that were going to be happening. So we'll get this restart taken care of as Tiller jumps to the race lead in front of teammate Jason Blaney and Ray Hanneman and Nathan Line. Fueled Up Motorsports, bottom side of the racetrack with Austin Walton in tow, and somebody lighting up the brakes on the back straightaway. I think that's Clint Hayveld. Something amiss on the 45 machine.
Like he was doing Kevin Harvick burnouts down the backstretch. That was interesting.
Sure looked like it. Looked like a connection problem to me, but either way, he's back in the session. Trying to get back up to speed. 77 laps on the board. John Tiller, Jason Blaney, 1 and 2 as they put some distance on Hanneman. We're going to step aside here, get our quick side-by-side break out of the way. You won't miss a moment. We'll be right back. Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments,
full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Need insurance coverage that's built for speed? Frank Yea's office in South Charleston has your back. Whether you're blazing down the highway, protecting the home you've built, or setting up a legacy for your family, we've got the coverage you need. Auto, home, life, fast, simple, and made for you. Scan the QR code on your screen now to explore all our services and start a free quote today. Lock it in, save it for later, or call us at 304-744-7700 to get started.
Back at Echo Park Speedway, the Peach State 125 presented by Fueled Up in its final run to the finish. John Tiller, Jason Blaney, Ray Hanneman, Nathan Line, Fueled Up 1 through 4 right now as we're on lap 85 of 125. Colt, will we get a long green flag run?
I don't know, Steve. Because there's two schools of thought here. One I mentioned earlier, when you start having wrecks, cautions breed cautions, because everyone's trying to get what they can get while they can get it. The other is typically when someone pops up on the radio and has a few not so nice words to say about the quality of racing, and everyone tends to settle down and run single file like we're seeing right now. So I guess we shall see.
Still feel like we are not done seeing our share of excitement for the night, though. It's going to take a special effort to break up this Fueled Up Motorsports group at the front of the field. That's with the numbers of cars that they have in this league, these super speedway, these teammate style races, I guess you could even call it. They definitely have the advantage, especially when they have the opportunity to get linked up. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's team orders, but if there is one order, it's make sure at least one of us wins. Kind of that old Penske mentality.
Yeah, that's generally the rule with my team at Outcast Racing is don't wreck each other, and if you're gonna race each other, race hard, race clean. But if there's a chance for someone else to come and win when you two could have secured a team win, then there's gonna be a conversation the next day.
Jackson West in the chat says, I have to yell at the 9 every week for not winning. It's exhausting.
Know a good place you can order toasters if you need one.
Yeah. Get the Temu ones.
single filed out now. It's like we're looking at the everyone's going to get in line and ride strategy.
Really hasn't been a very long run under green flag here tonight. We've had a couple of moments that looked promising. I think between lap 25 to 39 wasn't terrible. And then it's pretty short after that, maybe 10 laps at most. To go back to that, Colt, do you think that has something to do with the fact that once you get into a run here, even though it's a, quote, drafting track, does the handling start to go away on these cars after that amount of time? Do they become that much more of a handful?
They do a little bit. It's more so entry and exit rather than the center of the turn that you notice it. The car tends to be a little tighter in, a little bit looser off, but what I was getting ready to say was we could be seeing some fuel saving in the pack potentially. So a couple of cars. Oh, we have green flag pit stops.
Here we go. Fuel window open. We said 39 to 41 laps was the window here. This is buying these guys a little bit of insurance.
Counting about 7 cars, but one of them looks like the nose is pretty well punched in. Austin Walton gets the grass a little bit. No one killed the cone this time around.
I think Brenton Watson, the 21, was the driver with the issue as far as the nose punched in.
Team of Buzz Lightyear is working on his car.
So Jackson West down and away, what could be his final stop of the night.
Now, how quickly can this group of cars get back together and link up? Did they get too far apart from each other? Yeah, I think they might be a little too far apart, Steve. I mean, we have one car entering turn 3 now, while another car, I believe the last one in line, just jumped. Oh my goodness.
It's legal but frowned upon. And Cole, we were talking a little bit during the break. I want to give a call here to Jason Aranchak. He's been involved in a lot of issues here tonight. A couple of incidents at least, whether it's his own doing or otherwise, not really relevant at this point. The car's beaten and battered, but he's still running on the lead lap. He's up to the 16th position, still needs to make that final pit stop, but how in the world is he still a contender?
I have absolutely no clue, but I know what I'm going to be doing immediately after this race is I'm going to walk straight down to the tech shed and start looking for golden horseshoes. However, if he gets involved in another wreck, he's probably going to throw it at me.
Tiller and Blaney continue to run 1 and 2 with teammates Hanneman and Line in tow. And here comes Hanneman to pit lane.
Oh man, Hanneman sent it way off.
Leaders go in too. Hanneman came down a little early. I think that was just to avoid accidentally running over the guys, expecting them all to pit at the same time. Fueled up strategy here is Johnny DePasquale will come down and pit also.
Well, one thing that we do at Talladega and Daytona is if we're all on the radio calling out our pits, everyone kind of will pick a point on the racetrack that they're going to go to. So you got one guy will pick all the way down to the inside, one guy all the way to the outside, and then from there everyone else will pick kind of where they're going. So I would imagine that there was a little bit of conversation ahead of time, and Hanneman said, I'm going to go all the way to the inside wall.
That cycles Cornette, Hassard, and Summers to the top 3 positions. Chris Pieria 4th.
Quisenberry got out early there, ahead of all the fueled up cars.
2 tires or fuel only for Quisenberry with 7.63 seconds in the box for the number 6 machine.
He might be too far ahead of these guys, though, for that really to matter. They're going to swallow them up when they get back to him.
Now, keep in mind, though, Quisenberry's made 6 pit stops here tonight, so maybe he's burned off all of his tires. Maybe it was a forced decision rather than a strategic one.
Told his pit crew that they are going to earn their paycheck tonight.
Chris Cornett, last pit stop for the 88, lap 73. Aranchak now a lap down again. Jason made his last stop at lap 73 as well. So now only 5 cars on the lead lap. It's Chris Cornett, Riley Hassard, Brett Summers, Chris Pieria, Darren Jones. Everybody else a lap down or more. It's this pit cycle. We talked about it about mid-race. A lot of different strategies, a lot of different decisions on when to come down and pit. After all, I call it the ZeroX strategy series. We say that almost every race because this is what develops almost every race. And it's one of the many reasons we love calling the action here at the ZeroX strategy series, because it really gives a lot of storylines to discuss.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Steve, I'm looking at this leaderboard right now. Chris Cornett's all by himself. He's kind of in an odd situation right now, because if he comes down pit road, he will be by himself. The next car in line is Riley Hassard, about a 1.5 seconds back. He's closed the gap in a decent amount, but I almost wonder if Cornett's waiting for this pack to catch back up to him before he goes in and makes his final stop.
See, everybody's sniffing for a draft here, too, but these guys are going to catch them. They've got more energy. They're going to go around the outside here. Nick Gardner, Riley Hassard, Seven Summers. I think Cornett, there's no way he can make it at the end on 1 tank of fuel from there. He's got 30 laps. No, Cornett's got, 29 laps since his last stop. 23 to go. That would be a big stretch for the 88. Can you save 10 laps of fuel here?
I don't think so. Not under green anyway. And I was, like I said, I was thinking that he was waiting for Hassard, Summers, and Pieria to catch him to try to form up a pack and then pit together, but they just kind of left him behind there with Aranchak.
And he's almost 2 seconds off the pace right now. Maybe he is trying to stretch this to the end.
I think he is trying to say, because he is slow on track. I don't know that I see a scenario where this works for him other than a caution coming out. I think he might have realized he messed up when the rest of the field pit, and he did not. Yeah, he's letting Aranchak go, maybe trying to get behind him and get a draft where he can stay off the throttle.
I think Aranchak was running behind him to save some fuel as well. He hasn't stopped since lap 73, which is the same lap as Cornett. So these guys are in a similar boat. The difference is, I don't think Aranchak's on the lead lap. No, he's not. He's 8th, 1 lap down, in behind Tommy Pulte, who's the first car 1 lap down. So even a caution wouldn't necessarily save Jason right now. Hassard the leader. The 7 of Summers running in P2. Chris Pieria back up into the 3rd position. He's got a pit 2, though. His last stop was lap 73, and frankly, the top 8 drivers all need to make 1 more stop before this one's over with, unless they've found some magic in the bottle to stretch the fuel load much further than anyone has all race long. Again, the longest green flag run we've had so far tonight, right now. So unless these guys have spent the time or done the math in their head. Oh, almost contact with Pulte and Summers. That was a very close call.
We almost had our answer there. The 7's going to peel off.
Summers coming to pit lane. Again, 19 to go. His last stop was at 61, though. He went 45 laps. Pulte's gone 46. Blaney, Hanneman, and Tiller They went 47. Well, that was different. There was cautions involved in that one.
See, we just saw him drive by. Jason Aranchak is on pit road. That leaves Chris Cornett out there. He's still trying to save. His last lap was a 33.21 compared to Briley Hassard's 30.88. And the 22 of Jason Blaney was a 30.05. So yeah, he is most definitely saving. That's not just off pace because you're out of the draft.
Long stop for Ranchak, 18.3 in the box. So Hassard with the race lead, running in behind Nick Gardner. Gardner not a lead lap car right now.
I believe Gardner might be the first or the last car on the lead lap, and kind of a you scratch my
Hayveld in trouble.
Hayveld.
Well, we missed that one.
I believe he saved it.
Stay green though.
But Gardner and Hasser might be in a situation of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Hasser letting Gardner stay on the lead lap in exchange for giving him a draft to try to save a little fuel, because these guys I think are betting on a caution. The pace they're running, they definitely can't save. We're not even sure Chris Cornett can make it, and they're running about 2 seconds faster than Cornett.
I mean, I still don't know how these guys are going to stretch the fuel that far.
I just don't think they can. I think they are betting on that Fueled Up Motorsports pack. The main pack now, they're going to get desperate. They have got to get back to them and unlap themselves before a caution comes out, without being the caution, of course. And I think Hassard and Peria and I believe that's Jones behind him, Darren Jones, they're just kind of betting on a mistake. Oh, those puffs of smoke.
The two cars, the Wrangler car, that's Davis. It's Jeremy Davis. Darren Jones way back here in third.
He's in the main packet, it seems.
Jones in the 217 side-by-side riders. We saw that comment earlier. I wouldn't have put it into a fuel mileage race the way this one was going with the cautions every 10, 12 laps, but now we've settled into a very long green flag run. We've already seen green flag stops, and now we're in a position where the top 5 drivers need to find some magic to get the fuel to last 52, almost 52 laps.
Cornett has picked the pace back up. He is back up to a 30.89 to Hassard's 30.41 and Blaney's 30.58. Now these guys have single filed out. I was watching them out of the corner of my eye, and they were 2, 3 wide for a little while. Realized they go faster in a single file line.
So Ray Hanneman, the 6th place machine, the lead car in this pack. Followed by teammates Jason Blaney, John Tiller. Matt Sisler's in there in the 9th spot. Now Johnny DePasquale contesting it on the bottom of the racetrack. Brandon Moore in the 3. You know these guys have a strategy. They work all week long trying to perfect the game plan.
Sisler not getting with the program. He wants to get up there and lead this pack, because if the top 5 cars do run out of fuel and have to pit, that is the battle for the lead.
Gardner in pit lane. 9 laps to go. Again, his last stop was at lap 72. Now Brassard is in pit lane.
Couldn't quite make it.
Leaves Chris Pieria and Darren Jones out on the racetrack. They pit on lap 73 also. Here comes Chris.
That leaves, I believe, Chris Coronet, the only one that could potentially make it. He's the only one in that group that did save any amount of fuel.
Dustin in the chat says, if I was out there, I could have saved the fuel. These guys just don't know how lucky they are that I'm not racing. So there it is, Colt. Darren Jones will pull down into pit lane. That should get Cornette back to the top spot, and Pieria misses the pit box considerably.
Still not in line.
And just like that, Cornette unable to take the top spot because he was by himself. The draft went right on by him as now Hanneman takes over the race lead.
Chris Cornette saved a little too much. He could just be trying to salvage a finish here, stay in the pack and...
Oh, close quarters here.
Oh! Think skinny thoughts,
Cody
boys.
Austin hits the wall, and Brandon Moore's
Whoa.
getting spun, or is he? He straightens it out on the apron of the racetrack in turn one. He'll come back up the banking. Cody Austin goes around the top, and we stay green. What a save. Wow.
That was a wild save. Kind of funny seeing a red 88 spinning a black 3.
No, never.
Whoa.
So it's Hanneman, Blaney, Tiller. Fueled up 1, 2, 3 with Matt Sisler in the 4th position. 5th is Scott Stockel in the 28. And it's Nathan Line, Trevor Quisenberry, Johnny DePasquale 8th. Moore slips back to the 9th position. Lucky's not rolling it onto the truck. Wesley Jeanette rounding out the top 10 with 3.5 laps to go.
And right about now is when the team radio is going to shut off. No more protecting your teammates. Hanneman's got to be watching Blaney because we know Jason Blaney's going to make a move for the win. But Tiller's back there as well. Which teammate does he go with? Or does he leave both of them out if Sisler gets a run?
Hanneman back to the line. I'll see 2 laps to go. 2 fingers in the air from the starter stand. It's Hanneman, Blaney, Tiller, and that's contested now as Sisler makes a run to the outside. You know, Johnny DePasquale's not going to assist the 31 right here, but Stockel is an option. But Scott keeps it to the low lane. May shuffle out Matt Sisler here.
Hey, Steve, look at how low Matt Sisler is running. He is trying to side draft the 20 and the 28. Try to drag them back. There goes John Tiller.
Hanneman to the line. Final lap. Side-by-side battle for second. Tiller and Blaney. Stockel and Sisler behind them. Hanneman trying to hang on. Ray Hanneman put it on outside pole, just a little bit further back to start finish. He might have this win, but a run to the outside. John Tiller coming down to the stripe as they're wrecking behind him, and Tiller's going to cross the line first. He'll win the Peach State 125 as they're wrecking at the start-finish line. Matt Sisler facing the wrong direction, but it looks like he still took the 4th position.
Now, what a move for Tiller there.
Blaney popping in for the love bump. Johnny D, the same thing.
Steve, even with the new configuration we have here at Echo Park, we still have those fantastic Atlanta finishes.
Yeah, I mean, it really did kind of look like old Atlanta there, didn't it? I don't have the records in front of me here, but I think this is Tiller's first win of the season.
Cornette did not make it on fuel. He did have to make a stop.
Taylor taking this one right in here, getting all the celebrating out of the way he can.
Hard not to with the last lap pass like that.
And there goes the motor. I think that was the goal. I think we're going to put that with a celebratory burnout of the season for John Tiller. We're going to step out, get a short break, and I think we're going to have Ray Hanneman available for comment. I don't think we've got anybody else, but we'll talk to at least the driver of the number 12 P2, Ray Hanneman, here after this. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Spartan Transportation and Spartan Logistic Management is your one source for all your shipping needs. 53-foot dry van shipments, auto transport shipments, full-service in-house brokerage, drop-lot facilities, just-in-time deliveries to all auto manufacturers, facilities in St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Spartan Logistics, LLC, proud sponsor of the IROC Series, Kyle Steffens, UMP Modified and Silver Crown Driver, and Gordy Gundaker, World of Outlaws Late Model. Visit us at spartan-logistics.net or find us on Facebook.
Back at Echo Park Speedway, this one in the books, the Peach State 125. Going to John Tiller. Unfortunately, we don't have John available for comment, but we do have the runner-up teammate Ray Hanneman available. He led 7 laps here tonight. Led all of them really up until the very last corner. Had a run to the outside from the 20. He just couldn't defend, and he'll settle for the second spot. We'll get a word with that runner-up, Ray Hanneman, right now. Ray, it's Steve and Colt in the broadcast booth. You got us?
Got a copy.
Ray, a good run here tonight. Certainly a solid performance out of your Fueled Up Motorsports team, but second place finish for you here tonight. We watch your teammate John Tiller take the victory. Walk us through the closing lap of this one. We thought you had it well in hand, but Tiller gets to the outside and just edges you over the line at the finish. What did it look like at the windshield of that number 12?
Honestly, with Jason Blaney just on my back end, after we got the lead from Cornette, there was a lot of times where I was getting to the turn, I was just getting really loose off the right rear. So I was having to lift in the entry of 1 and entry of 3, and coming to the final laps, he was getting really close to the bumper and trying to gather that run. So I was trying to slow it down a little bit just to make sure I was able to keep it steady on the exit. And the one time that he didn't get close to my bumper for me to get loose, I should have been pinned because Tiller was on the outside making a run. So unfortunate there that I tried to play a little defensive strategy and it didn't work out in my favor, but I'm glad we still got a 1-2-3 out of it.
Solid points day nonetheless as we look forward now. Kentucky Speedway next week. That is going to be a bit of a change. I wouldn't go as far as to say a unique racetrack, but one that a lot of us at least kind of like. How do you set yourself up for another solid 1-2-3 or maybe a win for yourself next week?
I mean, it's just practice with everybody again. Like it's been great going on track and working with the Fueled Up guys and working with Trash House, and just a lot of the dialed in racing has been showing some face in some of the practice sessions that everyone's been showing up in. So it's been nice to just gather some, not talk about strategy, but gather some different information, see how everyone's running it, race around other cars, the dirty air, working with other drivers. It's been really nice. So just to keep that up over the off week, not the off week, but till the next race day. And I think that's what's going to put us apart from drivers who don't practice and drivers who do practice.
Practice makes perfect, but better yet, perfect practice makes perfect. Ray Hanneman, P2 here tonight. Congratulations. Who do you want to thank?
Got to thank the girlfriend for watching and supporting every single week. Without her, it's well, if she didn't allow it, I wouldn't be doing it. So I got to thank her for that. I got to thank you guys for broadcasting. I got to thank Rebuild Jacks for coming on the car this week. A lot of the first races of the week of the season, Rebuild Jacks has been adding some extra horsepower, I swear, in these cars. But fortunately, couldn't get it done tonight. But I appreciate them. Clark Heating and Cooling. I got to thank iStats, W, Admin Box. I got to thank all the guys that Fueled Up. Tiller with an amazing win. Blaney for working with me throughout the whole race there, and then everyone else that's raced tonight. It's a little unfortunate for Moore and Wesley Jeanette, but I know they'll bounce back. I got to thank Dustin. Got to thank all the competitors out there, Jackson West, Austin Walton, Trevor Quesenberry for great runs. We were all around each other, and got to thank you guys and all the fans and everyone that supports the league. Without the awesome fan base we have and the community we have behind everybody here, and we wouldn't be doing it, and it's a lot more fun doing it in front of people. So thank you, everybody.
All right, Ray. Well, congratulations again, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck next week in Kentucky.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Ray Hanneman, runner-up here. Again, we didn't get to talk to our top 3 totals, just the runner-up here tonight. Again, that's all going to get better when we go back live here at the end of the season. We're looking forward to that, but that'll do it for the interview portion of tonight's broadcast. So let's jump into our race results. Of course, we already talked to our second-place driver, but John Tiller picking up the win here tonight. Ray Hanneman was second. Jason Blaney comes home in the 3rd spot. 4th went to Matt Sisler. Didn't see much of Matt here tonight, but he just kept his nose to the grindstone and salvaged a top 5, finishes 4th. Scott Stockel, a strong run. He'll finish 5th. Nathan Lyon was 6th. Trevor Quisenberry was 7th. 8th went to old Johnny DePasquale. Brandon Moore 9th. Austin Walton 10th. Wesley Jeanette was 11th. Riley Hassard 12th. Nathan Ostrowski, big-time run for Nathan tonight. Started last, finishes 13th. Darren Jones was 14th. Jeremy J. Davis was 15th. 16th place went to Tom Pulte. Juan Linares was 17th. 18th was Jackson West. 19th place went to Nick Gardner, having to stop for fuel late in this one. Chris Cornette, same story, finishes 20th. Ben Smith was 21st. Brett Summers, 22nd. 23rd, Cody Austin. Chris Pieria, 24th. Jason Aranchak, 2 laps down in the 25th spot. Brenton Watts was 26th. Clint Hayfield, 27th. Tony Smith, 28th. 29th went to Ken Lowry. Michael Thorne, 30th. Dave Kennard was 31st. And last but not least, certainly not in our hearts, the 17 of Blake Hochschild will round out the running order here at Atlanta. That'll do it for us. Colt, what's your take on tonight? This was a fun one to watch, I think.
Yeah, this was honestly a pretty good race. These guys did a really good job. A couple of big wrecks, but that's kind of to be expected with this style of racing and the way this car is. But yeah, it just goes to show this version of Atlanta, it is still fun, despite the purist in me still wanting to hate it. But like I mentioned at the top of the show, I do enjoy this racetrack, and we still get those fantastic Atlanta finishes. So great job to them, to John Tiller for coming home with the win.
Well, that'll do it for us here at Echo Park Speedway. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Thanks for keeping that stream chat busy, guys. I love that you guys come out here and make this a watch party. We'll see you again next week at Kentucky Speedway. Have a good night. Thanks for watching.